So over the past 24 hours, we have had a bunch of comments made by different NHL analysts on TV in regards to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the latest on this guy, Mitch Marner. And honestly, I am kind of shocked to see this. These are not the updates that we thought we would be hearing, especially at this point in the offseason. Or, it's not really the offseason, but it's the offseason for 30 of the 32 NHL teams. Let's go out there and talk about comments made by Pierre LeBrun as well as Elliotte Friedman. Starting out with this tweet made by Leafs Latest from earlier yesterday. This is all via Pierre LeBrun. Mitch Marner is planning to honor the final year of his contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Despite fan speculation, Mitch Marner's camp is not pursuing trade options or contract extensions. His agent, Darren Ferris, has confirmed there are no active discussions about a potential trade or extension this summer. Instead, Marner aims to start the upcoming season and evaluate the situation as it unfolds. Oh dear, that does not sound good for anybody that was getting their tinfoil hats on and trying to speculate what could be in a Mitch Marner trade this summer. If you go over to Marner and you talk about his overall contract situation, yeah, he's expensive, yeah, his contract expires a year from now, but yeah, he's got no move protection, meaning that any sort of a move that Toronto would have to make, Marner has to be okay with it. And this update is pretty much saying, yeah, there haven't been any trade discussions, and Marner is planning to continue playing with Toronto, trying to get things right. He'll see what happens as the season goes on. And that, I think, is a very panicky kind of thing to hear if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan that was seriously betting on Mitch Marner starting out 24-25 on a different team. There also were some extended comments made by one Elliotte Friedman on the latest edition of the 32 Thoughts podcast. By the way, big shout out and big welcome back over to NHL Watcher on Twitter, one of the most clutch Twitter accounts out there when it comes to posting about some of the stuff that goes on in the NHL. Obviously, he transcribes a lot of the stuff that is said on podcasts and television hits, so it's a lot easier for me as a content creator to put it on the screen so we can read along and follow the narrative a lot easier. Of course, I listen to this stuff myself, but just having it on the screen is much, much better for the audience. Thank you to NHL Watcher for all your years of service, and welcome back to the Twitter world. But Friedman said this on the latest 32 Thoughts podcast in regards to the same Mitch Marner conversation. I think there is some real concern about how the Toronto fans will react to Marner if he starts next year unsigned. And you can't avoid that. Look, if you want to bet on yourself, bet on yourself. I bet on myself before. Others have bet on themselves before. If that's what Marner wants to do, I think he has all the right in the world to do it, but he has to understand that some of the fan base is not going to react very well to that, and you have to play through that. Are you comfortable with that? Can you handle that? You see, if I had to try to guess, I don't know Mitch Marner myself. I'm not in the room. I'm not a pro hockey player. I don't know this dude personally. But if I had to guess based off of everything we have seen out of Marner in the media, in the spotlight, not, of course, Marner as a dude personally, but just in the face of the public, I do not know if Mitch Marner is well equipped enough to deal with this. If he starts out next year, he doesn't have a contract, he's in Toronto, everybody's uncertain. Hey, is this going to be Johnny Gaudreau 2.0? Hey, is he going to say that he wants to stay and then leave? Is this going to be John Tavares 2.0? With the pressure of that cooking the Toronto Maple Leafs alive from October to June in 24-25, I have no idea how Mitch Marner is going to survive that in the media. It's going to be a talking point. It's going to be something that everybody brings up consistently. We had seen this in other markets, lesser markets even. And when it comes to the top Canadian teams, you know how much of a distraction the Elias Pettersson contract situation was with the Canucks this previous season. And that guy didn't have nearly a fraction of the hate that Mitch Marner has with Toronto fans. There's no way Marner is going to be able to survive this, and there's no way he's going to be able to get through the season without saying something dumb at least once or twice. The guy goes out there and is terrible on interviews, especially when you catch him at the wrong moments. He has a lot of oopsies in terms of saying things that he really should not be saying, getting the right ideas across but saying it in the worst ways possible. Hey, guess what? We're revered. We're talked about like gods in Toronto. Like, comments like that. Of course you understand what he means, but the way he phrases stuff at times is absolutely terrible. It's like the media training went in one year and out the other for Marner growing up. But Elliotte Friedman actually did have some extra things to talk about in regards to the Marner talk. He said that there is a fear that Marner could turn into Kadri 2.0. Which is, go to another market where there is less of a spotlight and become a key player of a Stanley Cup champion. Friedman believes there are people in the organization who are scared of that happening. Now, of course, what happened with Nazem Kadri? Well, he left Toronto. He was on his way out. Everybody knew he was on his way out. The guy was irresponsible in the playoffs. He would cost the Leafs significant minutes with the penalty box. And when he left, he went to Colorado, was not as important of a player with that team. Yes, he was important. Yes, he was a Stanley Cup champion. Yes, he helped them win. But Kadri was like 4th in the pecking order of important Colorado Avalanche players when they won the Cup that year. You had McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, and then you could maybe say the goalie. You could even say Gabriel Landeskog if you wanted to do that. Let's actually go out there and explore. Okay, Colorado Avalanche. We will look at the 2022 Stanley Cup champions and then look at Colorado scorers. Yeah, Makar, Rantanen, McKinnon, Landeskog all up in here. You can say that Nazem Kadri was not one of the top 3 most important players. And for Mitch Marner, if he were to do something similar, go over to another team and become a Stanley Cup champion, who knows if he will be one of the most important players. In Toronto, right now, he's supposed to be one of the top 2. He's paid like it, so of course, this is a guy with a bunch of expectations, but if he goes over to a lesser market where there's a less of a spotlight and not too many people are going to clown on him in, let's say, I don't know, Tampa Bay or Boston or just tossing any other names out there, people are not going to clown on him as hard if he is underperforming in one of these other markets compared to Toronto. So that, of course, is something that Friedman is talking about. Some people in the Maple Leafs organization are scared of that happening. And then he also says, I know there are people who are 100% certain he is getting traded. On Sunday, June 2nd, when this podcast was recorded, I don't know if I am so certain of that. And so Friedman is doubling down on the uncertainty. Hey, we don't know if Marner's getting traded, and there is a possibility that Marner might want to start out the year just the way things are right now. No contract extension, no trade. Pierre LeBrun said the same thing also. So when it comes to Mitch Marner, this is maybe the biggest piece of trade information, quote-unquote, that we could have gotten. Not that there's a new offer updated, not that there's a new thing leaked, not that there's a trade package that is floating around there on the internet, it's that there might not even be a trade. This is our trade update. Could you have expected this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Mitch Marner straight up just staying with Toronto and not starting out the year with a contract. Could you imagine the nuclear bombs of social media warfare that are going to be tossed out there with Mitch Marner not having a contract? Everybody's going to be so opinionated. Everybody's going to be fear-mongering. Everybody's going to be saying, this is a bad move. Brad Treliving, what are you doing? Mitch Marner, what are you doing? Just wave. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below how you feel about Mitch Marner potentially starting out the year without a contract extension and without a trade. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.